Yes, indeed, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It's J.JordanTV Liberty. In today's video, we're going to talk about the New York Liberty's roster moves that they made this week, as well as some general WNBA news. The season starts on Friday, so a lot of teams are making their final roster moves and cuts. So it's been a busy week on WNBA Twitter. First, we're going to talk about the good news of this week. On Monday, Sabrina signed her extension. I'll show it to you guys right now. The Liberty signed Sabrina to a 2-year extension through the 2025 season. As you can see down below, there's a 2-year, 411,000 max extension. She'll earn 202,000 in 2024 and 208,000 in 2025. That's good news for Liberty fans. We're locking down who could be a potentially generational talent on our team for the next 2 years. She had a very great season last year. She was an all-star last season as well. And that was probably her first healthy season since she's been in the league. So that's always a good sign. It shows that the Liberty have faith in Sabrina to be a part of the team for years to come. And for one, I'm excited. She's continued to add to her game every year. And now with the pieces that we've added this season, it should pay dividends. In the bad news, unfortunately, I don't want to call it bad, but unfortunate news. Um, we had 16 players on the training camp roster. Well, 15 if you exclude Marine, who's still overseas playing for her French team. But the maximum, I'm sorry, is 12 players on the roster. So we had to make 4 cuts before Thursday's 5 p.m. deadline. And yesterday, around the league, everybody was making cuts, which had the WNBA Twitter up in a frenzy. But the Liberty, of course, had to make their moves as well. And we had to release, as I expected, we had to release Morgan Green, Sika Kone, and Stephanie Mawuli. I knew Morgan Green and Stephanie would probably not make the team, but Sika was a surprise. She was our draft pick last season, as well as Niara Sabali, who made the team. She didn't play last season; she was still overseas. But from what I saw in the clips and the stats in the preseason, she looked really well. She brought energy whenever she was in the game. Um, she was scoring, rebounding, doing whatever she could to help the team out. And it's unfortunate that due to the roster sizes in the league and the trajectory our team is on, that she couldn't make the roster. But all the best to these young ladies. Hopefully, they could find another team that needs the spots because they all deserve to be on the roster. Unfortunately, with the timeline that we are on, it just wouldn't fit. The big news, or the most disappointing news to a lot of the Liberty fans, was this one here. Didi Richards. Didi Richards, unfortunately, had to be released as well. I can't say I didn't see it coming. For me, it was between her and Jocelyn Willoughby, but yeah, Didi was released yesterday. Unfortunately, as you can see, a lot of the fans were up in an uproar because she was really a fan favorite. She always, when she was on the jumbotron, whether she was in the social media posts, she always had a great energy, and people really gravitated towards her. If you don't know Dee Dee's story, she went to college in Baylor, and during a practice, during she had a collision with a teammate, which left her with a pretty bad spinal cord injury that left her paralyzed for a little bit. But she fought and she came back a little over a month later. She was back on the floor for them and playing, which is a testament to her determination and to her will to get back on the court and to chase her dream. And she ended up getting drafted to us, of course. And she, as well as Michaela, who we traded away earlier this year, made the WNBA All Rookie team. Unfortunately, she got injured last year. She only played a few games last year, so and the production wasn't there. So with the trajectory that the team is on, it's unfortunate that she couldn't make the team as well. Um, with all the big names that we have, it would have been tough for her to even get minutes. Really, it's the WNBA is a tough league, especially with the amount of teams and the amount of roster spots. So tough decisions have to be made. We sort of figured something was up when it was released on Tuesday that they weren't picking up her extension, which would have had her option. Excuse me. She had a player option for 2024 season, and they weren't picking that up. So you knew something was up there. I thought they would just cut her or not part ways with her at the end of the season, but tough times call for tough decisions, and we had to release her. So all the best to Didi in her next team, her next journey. I know she was big into modeling, so if another team doesn't pick her up, I know she'll have a another career choice somewhere down the line, which is unfortunate. But all the best, Didi. In some other news, I just wanted to show you guys our roster now. Let's go to our roster. So this is the Liberties roster now. So we have Stephanie Dolson, Sabrina Ionescu, Maureen Johannes, Han Shu, John Carl Jones, Benai Delaney, Epiphany Prince, Niara Sabali, Brianna Stewart, Kayla Thorin, Courtney Vandersloot, and Jocelyn Willoughby. So that's going to be the team for the Liberty this year. We have multiple positions where we have backup and very solid players. For our starting lineup, like I'm predicting, it'll probably be Courtney Vandersloot at the point guard. She's always been tops in the league in assists over the past few seasons. Then we'll have Sabrina at the two guard. We'll probably have Benai Delaney at the three. She's a guard forward. Um, of course, Brianna Stewart's gonna be at the four, and we'll probably start John Quell at the five. So I think that's the predicted lineup. In the preseason, Stephanie Dolson, she was coming off the bench as the first person, so it'll probably be between Stephanie and Marine because Marine, if they want to sit Vandersloot or Sabrina, Marine can play either of those roles, whether leading the team or playing the off guard and hitting those threes. Um, I don't expect Jocelyn to get a lot of minutes with Kayla Thorin on the team now. They sort of fill a similar role, and so I think Kayla Thornton will get a bulk of those minutes. Niara is going to be her first season actually playing meaningful minutes, so should be interesting to see how they deploy her. They might play her in spurts towards the end of games, depending on how the game is looking, or if someone gets in foul trouble, or she'll probably get some minutes there. And then we have a veteran guard, backup guard, and Epiphany Prince, just to steady the ship in case we need that presence on the floor. So it should be a very interesting season for the Liberty. They're still getting acclimated to each other. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it pans out in these first couple games. The first game is on Friday down in Washington against the Washington Mystics. So we should have now that we know the full roster, we should have a better idea of how the team is going to look when they play that game. The other WNBA news I wanted to touch on was that the WNBA imposed some penalties on the Las Vegas Aces after they performed an investigation into them that stemmed from the Diarra Hamby trade. After Diarra Hamby was traded, um, she released some news that she was improperly treated due to her pregnancy, and the pregnancy was the reason why she was traded. And some people within the organization made some traumatic and disparaging comments to her in regards to that. So, um, yesterday, May 16th, they announced that they would rescind the Las Vegas Aces 2025 first round draft pick. Um, didn't take the 2024 one because Vegas had already traded that pick away, and they suspended their coach Becky Hammon, a former Liberty player, for 2 games without pay for violating the league and team's respect the workplace policies. Um, I don't know too much about the comments that were made. Supposedly, it was in regards to Dearica Hamby after the Vegas Aces had won the championship. Um, she ended up getting pregnant, and Vegas accused her of signing the she was due for a contract extension, and Vegas accused her of knowingly signing the contract extension while she was pregnant, even though she knew that the pregnancy would probably keep her out for the beginning of this upcoming season. So of course she took the offense to that, saying that it wasn't a planned pregnancy and things of that nature. So once she was traded, she basically spilled all the beans. They did the investigation and found that Becky Hammon was the one that made the comment to her about that we need bodies for the season, and unfortunately, due to her pregnancy, she probably wouldn't be available until later on, which would mess up the what Vegas was trying to accomplish, which is trying to repeat as champions. So it's an unfortunate story. A lot of people on social media, WNBA Twitter, felt that the punishment wasn't severe enough. I don't know exactly. This is the first time I think in the WNBA in recent memory that something like this has happened. So there hasn't been any precedence as to what the punishment should be. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how Vegas bounces back. It's only 2 games, so I don't think the penalty will affect them as much. Excuse me. The pick, I'm not too worried about. I know they're not too worried about the pick. They're pretty top heavy. The pick probably wouldn't get any minutes anyway, and yeah, so I'm not too worried about that for them. Um, well, that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. As I said earlier, the first game for the Liberty is on Friday against Washington. You could, it's on the NBA TV, I believe. So you could check your Liberty, the Liberty website. They have a list of all the games for the season and where you can find them, whether it's on national TV, local TV, or streaming services. I don't expect the Liberty to make any more moves before the 5 p.m. deadline tomorrow. So I think what we saw here to yesterday was the final roster, and that's what we should expect to see on Friday. Once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. I have a lot of content coming up for this season. We'll probably most likely do a watch along for that Mystics game on Friday. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified when I go live for that. Until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. Salute.